guys, it's Bro You Whack, and happy April Fools, everybody! Not only am I finally getting a girlfriend and being happy, but the April Fools event is coming back into Overwatch 2 today! Which means every single hero is gonna be getting one goofy change or another, and today we're gonna be going over all of the hero changes in the totally normal watch event that's taking place. Don't worry, all of these changes that go over today are gonna be in its own separate playlist. They won't be in quick play or in competitive, so don't freak out. But this video is gonna be a long one, so that's why I have timestamps for every single hero so that you can skip ahead to any hero that you want to see their changes for. But without further ado, let's finally get it started. Now, I will go over all of the existing heroes changes, but with this new game mode comes a new DPS hero called Moira. This is a DPS hero who has a purple spray that is actually able to do damage to the enemy. Along with that, they also have two different orbs. On the left hand is a damage orb, and on the right hand is a damage orb. But we haven't even gotten to this new DPS hero's ultimate yet. Just take a wild guess of what it does. It does damage. And only damage. But now moving on to the already existing heroes in Overwatch 2, starting off with Ana, who becomes a true sniper because they reduced her ammo clip size from 15 to 1, and they also increased the reload speed by 25%, but because she's a true sniper with only one bullet, the damage and the healing got increased from 75 to now 150. Ashe and her companion Fred got some massive changes in the April Fool's update, where Ashe, specifically her coach gun, it increases the knockback of the enemy, but it also reduces the air control for every enemy that's hit by the coach gun. But the real change here is with Fred, because Fred no longer shoots at the enemy, and that might seem like a nerf until you realize he just chases down the enemy and continuously throws them in the air. And if you love Fred that much, well, you're in luck, because Ashe's ultimate costs 70% less now, meaning you're gonna see a whole lot more Fred. If you love playing Super Mario and stomping on Goombas, you're gonna love Baptiste's change, because his boots now allow him to stomp on the enemy and do damage. And they also reference Super Mario in the developer comments, which, by the way, I just had to include all the developer comments in every single one of these changes because they're just so good. I love Bastion's change because Bastion's grenade now spawns an explosion training bot. You know those explosion training bots from Hero Mastery? Well, Bastion can now just give birth to one through his grenade, but also with his ultimate. Every impact that you make with an ultimate just spawns another explosion training bot. It's like a happy explosion little family. Brigitte's change is a little bit hard to see, but basically you're able to throw your shield. Yeah, it replaces your shield bash, and you're just able to throw it as if you're Captain America. It bounces all over the place and does damage. And during rally, you're able to hit multiple enemies with your shield throw. Cassidy's April Fool's change is really hard to see here, so just take my word for it that the primary fire and secondary fire bullets now can ricochet up to 3 times, and ricocheted bullets will deal more damage, so it's kind of ideal to miss your shots a little bit. All right, so I know Doomfist has a lot of changes. All you need to know is that Doomfist can punch a lot. He no longer has rock and knuckles, but rather you can melee a bunch of times really fast and with more damage. And this melee also will increase your charge for your actual Doomfist punch. And I almost forgot, his time to slam cooldown got reduced by 1 second. Who cares? You're able to punch with your mini hand finally. Remember Mauga? Well, now we're gonna see it reincarnated here with Smallva. D.va's mecha shrunk in size, 50% to be exact, and you fire so much faster, however, you do so much less damage. You also have way less health than before. You're just a smaller little baby D.va. But the real change is with Smallva's ultimate, where now you're able to stop it at any point in the air, and it will still just explode like normal. Echo is now officially a flight character because her fly ability is always on. And whenever you activate your flight ability, since you're already in the air flying, it's just gonna give you a quick boost. On top of that, the Tri-Shot now will fire 3 sticky bombs. It will only do 14 damage, and her sticky bombs will now fire Tri-Shot projectiles with an increase of damage from 17 to 20, which they've done a lot of like switcheroos with these changes. The best change of all time from the April Fool's update is back with Genji's I need a healing change. Every single time you ask for heals with the communication wheel, it'll occasionally heal you sometimes. But, and a huge but here, is that if you abuse this, if you constantly spam the I need a healing button with Genji, eventually it'll just start to hurt you, and yes, you can kill yourself by asking for too much heals as Genji. This is a change you've been waiting for, Hanzo's April Fool's update. But first, listen to Hanzo's and Orisa's interaction to really see and appreciate this change.
I see you glancing at me. You wish to ride me into battle?
What a preposterous thought.
Do not lie, Archer. It is beneath you.
You're able to ride Orisa as a horse when playing as Hanzo. This is the best change ever. Oh my god. Like, we don't even need to talk about Hanzo's other changes because his passive, a Samurai Kishu, is all that we need to talk about, but we will talk about the other things. All right, so fully charged stone bow shots now will ricochet twice, and storm arrows now will ricochet up to 5 times. And when you wall climb as Hanzo, if you press the reload button, you will now Spider-Man attach yourself to the wall. My god. I also just gotta point out the fact that Hanzo's patch note says, while riding, you feel 20% cooler. I love the April Fool's update, man. Hazard definitely got the lamest change in this April Fool's update because his jagged wall knockback got increased by 400% and the cooldown got decreased from 12 seconds to 8 seconds. Like, cool, Hazard. You brought ice cubes to the party. Nobody cares. Getting back to some real fun, Illari's primary fire and secondary fire now swapped roles. Now her primary fire, which is the healing beam, does damage to the enemy, and the sniper shot, in a sense, heals your allies. And don't worry about not doing damage at long range because Illari's Zarya beam now, the range got increased by 50%. If you hated Junker Queen yelling at you and being mean to you when she used her commanding shot, well, don't you worry because it'll no longer affect you. That's a nerf for you, but it's a buff for the Junker Queen because her overhealth got increased by 50% and her movement speed doubled, increasing by 60%. But Gracie also got mad at Junker Queen too because now she no longer gets recalled by the Junker Queen, but rather the Junker Queen gets recalled by her Jagged Blade Gracie. Junkrat loves his explosions and now he becomes one with his Riptire because every single time you use your Riptire, you go invisible, meaning that you won't die as Junkrat when you ult, and every single time you explode the tire, you will teleport to that tire. And just to add more explosion chaos, you get 5 concussion mines, but the damage did get reduced by 50% because you're just gonna be throwing so many concussion mines, and the charge for each concussion mine got reduced by 4 seconds. Juno makes her April Fool's debut, and she got a pretty fun one. So first of all, the quick melee knockback got increased, but that's not where it's fun. It's with her Orbital Ray ultimate. Just take a look at this. Juno's ultimate now sends Juno and every ally and enemy into space, basically creating a Star Wars. Getting Star Wars, she's space, and okay, I'm sorry. Also, I love Juno's ultimate voice line referencing the Area 51 meme. They can't stop all of us when everyone's just gonna charge Area 51 and get their alien. So Kiriko is the only hero in this update that got a buff and a nerf randomly. And what I mean by that is that with their Swift Step ability, now every single time you use this ability, it'll give you overhealth and give you increased attacking speed, but it'll just randomly teleport you to an ally. You don't get to choose anymore. Bliss is trying to increase the Lifeweaver propaganda because his projectiles, his Thorn Volley, now can hone in on the enemy. And when enough thorns actually hit an enemy, it will explode for an extra 160 damage. But put that tongue back into your mouth, Lifer remains, because there are 3 big nerfs. Each projectile shot got reduced from 2 to 1, the rate of fire got reduced by 35%, and the speed for each of the volley thorns got reduced by 70%. Reddit Lucio mains, you're gonna have a ball with this update because the longer that you wall ride, the more movement, reload, and attacking speed you get. And as soon as you hit the ground, you will get that increased speed, but it will go away eventually. Okay, so I know it looks like Mauga has a lot of changes. All you need to know is that if you shoot the ground as Mauga, you fly into the air. Yes, you have less ammo, but you can reload faster, but you're able to fly as Mauga. Who cares? On top of that, his cage fight ultimate now moves with Mauga, meaning that you can now catch enemies almost like a fly trap with his cage fight. Man, kinda got a lame change, I have to admit, where now whenever you cryo freeze, you create a mini blizzard, which I think is a stadium ability, and on top of that, you're able to move with your cryo freeze. So in a sense, you're able to move as a blizzard and attack the enemy while protecting yourself as Mei. I just love Mercy's change, bro. Mercy mains are gonna gonna love the DPS Mercy Mains are gonna love this because every single time you shoot her blaster, it'll just randomly shoot a projectile. Sometimes it'll be a Mortar Orb, sometimes it'll be a Junkrat grenade, sometimes it'll just be a Widow Mine. Anything that would be considered a projectile is gonna be shot from Mercy. So like I mentioned before with Hanzo, you are able to be ridden by Hanzo when you play as Orisa. Now, I don't know who would want that because that sounds like an absolute nightmare, but now it's in the game. But on top of that, your javelin spin is a vacuum. So whenever you spin as Orisa, the enemy will be gravitated towards you. Pharah got some pretty interesting changes all relating around flight. So whenever you shoot a rocket launcher directly at an enemy, it'll do extra damage on top of them, just make them fly. When you use your jet dash ability, it'll now push enemies in the direction that you're dashing, along with their jetpack ability. So again, if you like flying, you're gonna love Pharah. Reaper, I legit think is the only hero that generally just got a nerf in this update, because now whenever you quote unquote reload with the shotguns, you have to go pick them up to get the ammo back. I mean, when you're picking up your ammo, you do have an increased speed of 25%, and after you pick up the shotguns, you do get an increased attacking speed for a bit of time, but when you don't have your shotguns, you can't melee the enemy. So like, again, this is just a nerf. This is bad. But that's what Reaper gets for being evil. Not because he's a part of Talon, but because he's a litter bug. Okay, so Reinhardt's change. I don't even want to explain it. I just want to show you what you can do. Because when you use Reinhardt's charge, you're able to be Mario Kart. Because his charge doesn't stop until you hit a wall. And you can turn a lot more now because it got increased by 150% and the cooldown got reduced by half the time. This is just... Oh, I love the April Fool's update so much, man. Along with having what is officially the longest ultimate voice line in the whole entire game with this update, Rammatra also is able to send enemies into the air with Ravenous Vortex because now the gravity got reversed with his ability. If you like Doc Ock from the Spider-Man series, you're probably gonna like Roadhog's chain hook change because now you're able to throw 3 hooks at once. I mean, with all the feeding Roadhogs in my competitive games, just keep this update permanently, please, Blizzard. Sigma's taking a page right out of Genji's book because every single time he uses kinetic grasp ability, now instead of absorbing the projectiles and bullets, he just shoots them back at the enemy and does damage. Oh yeah, and you're also able to fly when using his kinetic grasp ability, but you're probably not going to want to fly because you want to absorb the projectiles and deflect them rather than just be in the air. So while Reaper got a nerf, Sojourn just got like a real buff, not a funny haha buff, just a real buff to her railgun where now the max charge, it can go up to 300%. Why? On top of that, you also do increased damage above 100%, and yeah, you get knocked back whenever you shoot your railgun, but like, bro, this is gonna ruin the game because everyone's just gonna pick Sojourn because she's broken. This is something that we've never seen before. With Soldier's change, now he can no longer see the enemy's health bar, the allied health bar, and his own health bar. So because you're a stubborn old man and you don't want to use technology, you just won't know when you die. But at least if you're not going to be in combat, your passive healing starts a lot faster and heals you much quicker. Oh yeah, and your run speed got increased by 100% because apparently the technology was slowing you down. All right, so Sombra's change might seem a little bit confusing, so let me just explain and show you. So every single time you hack an enemy, you're going to get a movement speed increase and a magazine size increase, and they can stack for every hack that you pull off. However, if you die, all the stacking buffs that you just got will go away and you have to restart from 0. Symmetra just got straight buffs, man. So her photon projector, the primary fire will now do damage based on the target's maximum health, and the secondary fire charge time got reduced. So you just better at DPS now. But this is the April Fool's update. We gotta have some funny haha changes. And the way that you do that with Symmetra is by giving your allies a little hat with your sentry turret. Now the turrets can stick to your allies, along with a whole laundry list of other changes to the turrets. But honestly, this should just be a normal change in the game. Torbjorn loves his turret, and what better way to support his turret than by giving him over health whenever you use your forge hammer. And whenever he's overhealed, the turret will now increase in size, also will have more damage, and also obviously have more health. Tracer's got her strap on in this game mode because now you're able to give back shots to the enemy. I'm not even kidding. Every single time you crouch and blink into an enemy, you can collide with them and do damage and knock them back. I know you're reading Venture's patch notes and wondering, how can they fly while being burrowed? And it's exactly the way that's written out. You're able to burrow and then fly. I just don't know. I don't know what to say anymore. This game mode is the most random thing ever. I don't know why they give Widowmaker this change. So Widowmaker's April Fool's change is allowing you to grapple onto the enemy and go to them. And every single time you quick melee them after you grapple an enemy, it'll do extra damage. But what I want to know is why you would do this, because you're still a sniper. Like, I get it, you want to be like Spider-Man, but you're gonna die. Winston, crouch, Winston, slam, Winston, more damage. Winston. Wrecking ball. Okay, so I won't do that. So we now have small ball. Wait, that's just me. The size of Hammond got reduced by 50%. However, you gain more size when you roll into the enemy and you also pile drive into the enemy. Now you have to do damage to increase the size, so don't think that you can just roll next to the enemy and give them a little kiss. No, you actually have to hurt them. Zarya got a change that you're not gonna use, I already know, because her primary fire will now ricochet off of like walls and the rest of the environment, but why? Why? And for Zenyatta's change, his damage might have been reduced by 25% and his attacking speed might have increased by 50%, but where the real change lies is with his ability being able to fire googly eyes and stick them to the enemy. And now, how gamer boys and Negroes everywhere, all of the hero changes in the totally normal watch mode. Please let me know what your favorite change is, because this is my favorite mode out of the year. But I will see you guys tomorrow with more Marvel Rivals and Valorant videos to come, and until then, I don't love you guys, and no more Overwatch 2 videos to come. Hello.